Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. In this video, I want to show you my honest review, and I hope I will be able to highlight all the pros and cons of this product. So let's begin.
This could be the most important breakthrough in the hair loss industry. A hack so incredible, it can give you back every hair follicle you've lost from the day you were born in just a matter of weeks. It has been conveniently ignored by all hair implant doctors. The mainstream media refuses to share its existence in their newsfeed. Your own hairstylist has no clue about such an amazing discovery. And yet, once millions of brave men and women find out about this secret, it will turn the multi-billion-dollar hair loss industry upside down and bankrupt some of the biggest hair care companies in the world. So if you're here, stop everything else you're doing and pay close attention, because you're minutes away from the biggest breakthrough of your entire life. Hi, my name is Dr. Robert Cyrus. If you or one of your loved ones suffer from hair loss, if you've been witnessing your hair becoming thinner and thinner and your confidence dropping by the day, then pay close attention. Because in less than 3 minutes from now, I'll show you a scientifically proven method that can give you back your full head of hair in just a few short weeks, without having to use expensive pills, foams that irritate your scalp, or sprays that damage your skin, and without paying all your hard-earned money for a torturous hair transplant that can actually leave you bald for the rest of your life. You see, the only reason why hair doctors all around the world think hair loss is so normal is because it affects so many people every day. But while this may be common, I guarantee it's definitely not normal, as you'll soon discover. Despite what they want you to believe, the real reason why you've been losing your hair has absolutely nothing to do with your genetics, lifestyle, or hormonal imbalance. Instead, as groundbreaking research proves it, it's directly linked to a little-known and yet highly poisoning toxin hiding inside your system right now. And once you discover where this toxin really hides, you'll be able to stop it, fix any damage it has done to your body, and regrow a head full of hair. No matter if you're male or female, if you're 18 or 80 years old, and no matter if you've been losing your hair for a month or for over 10 years, and no matter your current medical condition. So let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some people start losing their hair as soon as their early 20s and others still have a full head of hair even in their late 80s? It's almost like your hair has a mind of its own. The real answer may be shocking to you, but it will unveil the real reason why you haven't been able to stop your hair from falling and ultimately give you the key to regenerate all your hair follicles down to the very last one. So get ready to never worry about being rejected because your head makes you look years older and funny looking, to never have to face the painful anticipation of the inevitable, constantly checking the bathroom sink for falling hair, torn between buying a wig and embracing the baldness, to never have to feel like an old man or woman in your mid-30s, to free yourself of the constant fear that your partner will cheat on you with someone younger and better looking, and to finally regain that sparkling confidence you had years ago when you just grabbed your leather jacket and left the house looking 10 out of 10 effortlessly, without having to look and judge yourself in the mirror every time. Because you knew that all you had to do to look great, young, and fresh was to wash your hair with any dollar store shampoo that came to your hand. Instead, your hair grows strong, thick, and dense, and your head looks better and shinier than ever. Now, you may be feeling skeptical about this now. I understand. After all, you've probably been disappointed a lot before and led to think that the only way to stop your hair from falling is with dangerous hair procedures or painful surgery. Some expensive products even seem to work for a while, but then it got worse. Because for a reason blatantly ignored by modern medicine, your hair follicles kept dying one by one. But this stops today. Because no matter where you are or how much hair you have left on your head, you owe it to yourself to watch every minute of this presentation. Because I guarantee it will change your life. So please pay attention, because time is not on our side. The hair loss industry is currently worth $8.4 billion in the US alone. These people are perfectly happy to keep selling you their expensive snake oil products just to keep you, their customer, hooked for life. So, if you had enough with the shame, frustration, and humiliation of witnessing your hairline creeping back little by little, or seeing that nasty bald spot at the top of your head extending every month? If you are tired of being uncomfortable in your own skin, whatever you do, because no matter how good you feel inside, on the outside, you just look years older. Or if you've already gotten a toupee and want to stop worrying every time you get close to someone that they'll find out your dirty little secret. And if you are sick of having to deal with the constant judgment of those around you, then continue to watch this unveiling report, because you're about to discover a scientifically proven way to regrow all your hair in a matter of weeks without any dangerous hormonal treatments, laser therapies, expensive pills, and without paying a single visit to your doctor. Because as incredible as this sounds, in 2021, having to deal with hair loss is completely optional. Now, of course, I don't want you to simply take my word for it. Listen to some of the success stories that I receive in my inbox every day from the 97,000 women and men from all over the world who have successfully used this program and restored their full head of hair. Joseph Miller, 32 years old, says, "My hair loss first began when I was 27. In just a few months, I had lost 2/3 of my hair. I was devastated and thought I was going to spend my best years hiding myself under shameful toupees that made me sweat like a dog. When I heard about your program, I felt skeptical at first because I tried a dozen other products with no success. Now, I just can't believe what I see in the mirror. My hair is fuller than it had ever been, and my girlfriend seems to adore it. Thank you a million times." Roy Benson, a 37-year-old who is now happily married, says, "When I first got my hair loss diagnosed, my world came crashing down. Not only did I find out that I'd be losing all of my hair in less than 6 months, but I also caught my girlfriend cheating on me with her hairdresser. My life seemed like a bad movie. I found myself lying alone on my bed, depressed and crying at the thought of never regaining my self-worth again. I wouldn't get out of the house, and the anxiety made my hair shed like crazy, even faster than before. A good friend of mine told me that he'd been in the same situation and he recommended your solution to me. It's amazing how this thing works. I've got all my hair back, and some of my relatives still don't believe me when I tell them I didn't get a hair transplant. A few months after regaining my hair and self-esteem back, I met the woman of my life. Coincidence or not, you saved my life, and I owe you lots." Alyssa McKenzie, 38 years old, from North Carolina, says, "Your formula is amazing. When my hair started falling out in clumps, I just couldn't stop wondering how this could happen to me. I was desperately trying to find something, anything, that could save me from a life of feeling old and unattractive. I found your formula by accident, and ever since my life completely changed. No more hair on the brush, no more bald spots, no more embarrassing dates. I don't think I will ever be able to thank you enough." Success stories like these don't even surprise me anymore. Every day, my phone gets flooded with phone calls, texts, emails, WhatsApp messages, and they all say the same thing, that this program is guaranteed to work for any man or woman out there. Okay, let's not waste any more time. It's time you break free from the hair loss nightmare. Like I said, my name is Dr. Robert Cyrus. Up until 4 years ago, I worked for one of the most renowned hair restoration clinics with an annual revenue of over $100 million. For the past 2 decades, my team and I have been researching ways to fight the hair loss epidemic that's been plaguing the U.S. during the last decades. And trust me, I've spent enough time in the medical industry to figure out how big pharma moguls operate and eventually uncovered their evil and shameless practices. So let me tell you one thing. As cruel as it may sound, they had zero interest in finding a solution for a condition as profitable as hair loss. Instead, all they want is to keep innocent people giving them all their hard-earned money for a dangerous surgery that might not even succeed, or at least make them keep buying expensive products that definitely won't give long-term results, just to make sure the investors are happy and profitable. And I should have known better, because early in my career, I was part of an elite team of physicians who worked on a drug which was later on released to the world as minoxidil, and is now considered one of the most common treatments against thinning hair. But you see, even today, with all the major advances in science and technology, they pretend they still haven't figured out something that completely rids you of the balding nightmare. Isn't it strange that scientists already found a cure for most common diseases, But there is still nothing for something just as common as hair loss. In my over 20 years of medical experience, I only had one dream: to research and develop the ultimate clinically proven solution that would stop hair loss once and for all. But before I go on, you should know that 99% of the doctors consider receding hair normal. And to some point, they are right. Did you know that over 85% of men and 40% of women experience hair loss at some point of their lives? So this may seem just as normal, as all the doctors you'll go to will tell you, but there is no way it is normal, as you'll see in just a couple minutes. Now, if you are losing your hair, you know just how vicious this condition can be. It will creep up on you in the most unexpected moment of your life, leaving you without a clue about what's going on until it's already too late. You live in constant fear of another massive hair fallout that will leave your scalp even more exposed, and leave you going from the social butterfly you've always been to a shadow of who you used to be, bitter and distant, ashamed to even go out of the house. And it all starts with a few more hairs in the shower drain, followed by an undying anticipation that tortures you every second of the day and night. Will I be completely bald by the end of the year? Should I buy a toupee or try scalp injections? You do anything to make it stop. But then, your skin starts showing more and more, and the thinning slowly turns into bald spots. You can barely look at yourself in the mirror, and then you decide to pay the doctor another visit. You go there knowing he'll give you another shampoo or foam that costs a fortune and eventually won't even make a difference. But what other alternatives do you have? You feel cursed, and for good reason. Hair loss has ruined many lives and relationships, bringing people to depression and despair over and over again. And yet no one seems to care about finding a real solution for it. There are 82 million people suffering from thinning hair in the U.S. alone, and yet no one is doing anything for them. No major breakthrough treatments, no cutting-edge research, only an overly expensive and dangerous hair transplant that exposes you to a great risk of a scalp superinfection. And except that, I'm sure you've already tried everything on the list: minoxidil and finasteride, which both stopped working after a while. So your doctor kept increasing the dose, even with the risk of your body becoming completely immune to them. Now, if any of this rings true for you, you should know one thing: it's not your fault. It really isn't. I've been using these drugs for over 20 years, and all the people who came to me for help are familiar with minoxidil and finasteride. It's not like people haven't heard of them before. I thought I was doing everyone a favor, but all it took was one day to change everything I thought was real about hair loss, as I'll show you in a couple more minutes, because I'll unveil the story of how I accidentally stumbled across what could be considered the most important scientific discovery of modern medicine. The true key solution that any man or woman can use to stop hair loss once and for all. You see, up to this day, I've had hundreds of women and men who have walked through my door, so I can honestly tell you that I've seen it all. People so desperate they would give their entire life savings only to live a life where they don't have to put up with judgmental looks on their daily to-do list. People who felt cursed and so ashamed they wouldn't step out of their house for weeks. People who don't deserve a bit of what was happening to them. And yet, here they were, in my office, crying and begging for help, telling me how they not only lost their hair, but their self-esteem, zest for life, spouse, social life, and so much more. Seeing so many heartbreaking stories, I must admit, I felt sorry for each and every one of them. And yet, I knew that dealing with hair loss was and still is perhaps one of the most difficult things in the world. I almost thought this was the way things work. The only real solution we had was hair transplant, even though the results often look like this. But all it took was one day and this young man that walked through the door and turned my life around. His name was Stephen Perkins. When I first saw him, I thought he was an old man. More than 70% of his hair was gone, even though he was barely in his early 20s. I thought he had suffered from an accident or had some sort of stress-related hair loss, but as his tests showed, there was no sign of that. It was heartbreaking, and I can only imagine how he felt. He was desperate, and I didn't blame him. It was like his good looks were being robbed from him. He looked at me with his eyes bursting into tears and begged for help. He started telling me how he caught his fiancée cheating on him with another man, and when he asked her why would she do something like that, she said, "You seem like an old man lately. I just want to live my life with someone who doesn't have to waste 30 minutes to do a ridiculous comb-over every time we leave the house." And then she left, without even saying goodbye. I felt sorry for him, and yet I knew the lost hair won't grow back by magic. I knew hair loss was a hard nut to crack. It had taken me 2 decades to understand the human hair follicle and its patterns, and I must say, it's truly one of the trickiest conditions I've ever seen. You see, each hair follicle is basically a small individual organ anchored in your scalp. It resides in the dermal layer of the skin and is made up of 20 different cell types, each with distinct functions. The reason hair loss is such an insidious disease is that actually there is not only one organ that needs help, but hundreds of thousands. And each hair follicle has its own needs. So basically, in order to regrow your thick mane back, you need to heal your follicles one by one. And the worst part is that when you start actually noticing the shading, it's already too late. Because the ugly truth is that our hair follicles can be perfectly functional all of our life, and then all of a sudden, they collapse. And I must tell you, time is not your friend when talking about losing your hair. So in order to have even the smallest chance of fighting hair loss, you have to find a way to get all these tiny organs that make your hair follicles strengthened and healthy so that your follicles can produce new hair that will last you a lifetime. Now, imagine me trying to explain that to the poor guy who was just dumped by the woman of his life. That his chances to ever get back to his former self were as low as 1 in a million. It was painful to even imagine this scenario could happen to anyone. That such a basic thing as our hair, a thing that most of us take for granted, could be the root cause of so much suffering and such drastic changes in our life. I stayed up late that night, thinking about his situation, and if there was a thing I knew for sure, that was that his story wasn't unique. All the people that came through my office over the years suffered from one or more conditions associated with hair loss, such as depression, anxiety, or fear of going out in public. And still, there's this one thing that didn't add up. Why do some of my patients suffer from chronic hair loss while their older siblings, who share their same DNA, have shiny, healthy, full hair, like their hair is on steroids? And more importantly, why are there particular ethnicities that seem immune to hair loss? It just didn't make any sense. There had to be a logical explanation for this unsolved mystery. I just wasn't able to see it. But life works in mysterious ways, because the next morning I received a call that was going to change everything I thought was real about hair loss. The call came from one of my oldest friends in the industry, Dr. Phillips. We've worked together for over a decade at our former hair restoration clinic, where we extensively researched the minoxidil drug. Just like me, Dr. Phillips had been in the medical field for over 20 years. He dealt with thousands of extreme cases of alopecia and other serious hair conditions. His work, in every sense of the word, was impeccable. He was one of the most acknowledged doctors our clinic ever had, and people were lining up from Europe or Australia just to get a 15-minute appointment with him. He strongly believed the secret to hair restoration is hidden in nature and not man-made drugs. He was a published author and was constantly interviewed on national television. His career seemed to reach the edge when suddenly and completely unexpectedly, he quit. Nobody really understood what happened. All we knew was that he had a long, closed-door discussion with the clinic's management. The next day, his office was empty, and we were announced that another hair restoration surgeon will take his place. But even though we haven't spoken for nearly 10 years, I was truly glad to see him again, as he is one of the most charismatic persons I've ever met. But as we started talking, I couldn't help noticing the big smile on his face and the glowing in his eyes, looking at me with his fancy new hat over his head. You see, besides being a very good physician, Dr. Phillips had an ugly secret he only shared with a few of his closest friends, although most people noticed. He had started losing his hair when he was only 13 years old. This made his social life a disaster. No girl ever looked at him in high school, college, and he could barely get a date with someone his age. Now, when he told me he was married, I was truly excited for him. On the other hand, I was curious to know how he managed to overcome his hair loss problem. Now pay attention, because it gets very interesting. Before I got to ask my question, Dr. Phillips smiled at me, grabbed his hat, and placed it on the restaurant table. Look at me, Robert. This is my natural hair. It's back. All of it. I have a lovely wife with a kid and one more on the way, and every single drop of hair back on my head. And it's been like this for the past 8 years. I still wear the hat because I enjoy it, and the only thing I have to hide here is a beautiful, shiny, full head of hair, Dr. Phillips said to me. And let me tell you, it did not happen by accident. And that's when Dr. Phillips said something that had me do mental flips. Robert, we were 99% right about hair loss in our study from 10 years ago. We just missed the 1%, and it was staring us in our faces. The reason why no one was able to figure out how to stop hair degeneration is because they were looking in the wrong direction. We are living in harsh times, Robert, and it's our body that pays the cost. And without help from Mother Nature, I'm afraid our bodies are meant to shut down little by little, starting from the less vital parts like nails and hair. You see, it all starts inside your bloodstream. Just like any other organ from your body, your follicles are kept alive by a small network of blood vessels. This network is responsible for nourishing the hair cells, delivering nutrients and growth hormones. But the real deal starts when the small capillaries that supply your capella become intoxicated with a special category poisonous substances called heavy metals. And the most dangerous for our hair is thallium, Dr. Phillips said to me. Now, before I move on, I need to tell you something about why drugs that contain minoxidil, like Rogaine and Alopexy, only work for a small number of people, if they work at all. Minoxidil is a vasodilating drug that, once applied to the scalp, expands the blood vessels to deliver more oxygen-rich blood to the hair follicles. Now, this sounds good in theory, but things don't work exactly like that. Because when your bloodstream is clogged with tiny heavy metal particles like thallium, sending more of it to your hair bulb, it's actually extremely dangerous and will only cause more hair strands to leave your head. A 2017 study published in the National Journal of Trichology showed that after entering your body, thallium first migrates to everything that's made out of keratin in your body, where it hides to avoid your immune system from destroying it. And guess which parts of your body are made from keratin proteins? That's right, your hair and nails. But that's not all. Because when you use minoxidil, you're not only bringing more blood to your scalp, but your entire head. That means the circulation dramatically increases in all of your upper body parts, including your brain. A study published in 2017, but buried in the National Library of Medicine, showed that tiny thallium particles from polluted air are absorbed even through skin and hair, and then are widely distributed throughout the body until they reach the central nervous system. Once the central nervous system is infested with this heavy metal poison, your brain will immediately trigger the survival mode, stopping your hair from receiving vital nutrients. Imagine your brain as your body's command center. Once the command center has been compromised, it's just a matter of time until the entire system will eventually fail. Thinking about regrowing your hair with minoxidil while your blood still contains traces of thallium and other heavy metal poisons, it's like expecting a tree to grow by double watering it with gasoline. Basically, when your body is deprived of certain essential nutrients, your brain considers your hair and skin the first ones not necessary for survival. So the real cause of today's hair loss pandemic is that our hair is vulnerable in two different ways. First, because it's the first one affected by environmental toxins, and second, because it is the first structure that our body leaves behind in case of nutrient shortage. Hearing of what Dr. Phillips had to say, it blew my mind. We finally knew where to start to really fight hair loss. So if we could find a way to flush the toxic thallium and all the other heavy metal poisons out of the bloodstream and nourish it with essential micronutrients in the same time, our body would have a fighting chance to restart the folliconeogenesis. Our hair would stop being plagued by the small heavy metal particles from our blood. Now that we know what part of the problem we have to target, we have a fighting chance, I said to Dr. Phillips. Look at me, Robert. I've given up the embarrassing wig I used to wear for almost a decade. This is all my natural hair, and it's even thicker than it was in my high school freshman year. I did find the way, he replied, with a big smile on his face. I was intrigued. And then Dr. Phillips explained it to me. To rejuvenate your hair follicles and prevent it from ever leaving your head again, you have to get rid of the heavy metal poison particles that are hijacking your body and hair. In order to win the battle against hair loss, we need to clean up your blood from any trace of toxic heavy metals and safely introduce certain nutrients directly into your bloodstream. Once your bloodstream is free of heavy metal poison, and your body has enough nutrients to properly care for your vital organs like heart or lungs, the tiny blood vessels network from your scalp will be able to properly feed your hair bulb and get your hair follicles to produce new hair immediately. And then your body will have the power to grow and maintain new hair. It's like they say, a healthy outside starts from a healthy inside. And then Dr. Phillips showed how after 4 long years of research and countless lab tests, he finally managed to find the right combination of natural ingredients that helped him break free from the hair loss nightmare. Have you tried to make this solution public? I asked him. Of course I did. I went back to the clinic investors, showed them the lab results, all my years of research, and after what I think was the best presentation I've ever done, you know what they asked me? They said, all right, but how do we make money off this if people only have to use it once? That moment, I realized that there was no real solution for hair loss because there was no interest for a real solution for hair loss, as long as it doesn't produce recurring income for the powers that be. And I have lived every day since thinking there is no way I could show this to the public. They won't allow it. Until I heard the news that you quit the big pharma clinic too. You inspired me, Robert, and if we don't find a way to do this now, I'm pretty sure nobody else will. Go to the last page and see it for yourself. There it was, on the last page of his research report, all the ingredients and specific quantities he'd used to grow a full head of hair. It took him 4 years and hundreds of different combinations to reach the exact formula that triggers the hair follicle's neogenesis. It was incredible. We have to share this with as many people as we can, I said to Dr. Phillips. Why do you think I came to you? He said. Now, I knew just the right person to help us test this formula. Stephen Perkins, the poor young man that came to my office telling me his fiancée left him for someone better looking. When I called him, he was extremely willing to be part of the experiment, because as he confessed, lately he's been thinning at a more rapid pace than ever before. So Dr. Phillips and I gave him the formula and instructed him to follow the program according to our lab test results. Now, for the first few days, nothing major happened. We've asked Stephen to keep a strict diary and document every step along the way. Every morning he would text me to let me know what happened, and I'll admit, he wanted to quit almost right from the beginning. He had been through so much misery over the years that he simply couldn't believe anything else would help him. But oh boy, was he in for a big surprise. So after a few more days, Stephen called me to tell me that he noticed some new follicles growing on his head, and he's excited because he feels this might actually work. We also asked him to take high-resolution photos of his head every day, so we make sure we notice every change. Then, his messages stopped, all of a sudden, and he wouldn't answer our phones for the next week. It didn't make sense for either Dr. Phillips or myself. But then, a few more days later, someone unexpectedly knocked on my door. It was Stephen. The minute I opened the door, he grabbed my hand, shook it with his eyes looking down the floor, and thanked me for all this help. He was wearing the same big hat on his head. Now, in that very moment, he turned his eyes at me, grabbed his hat, took it off, started smiling, and pointed at his head. And let me tell you, this beautiful man's hair had fully grown, and it was absolutely shining. He wanted to fool me for a second, wearing that big old hat, but his hair was all there, all of it. I couldn't believe it. I almost thought he had surgery, but hair doesn't grow that fast, and for sure it didn't look unnatural as it does with surgery. No way. His hair was 100% natural, 100% his, and it had fully grown. It was, without a doubt, the most incredible transformation I have ever seen in my life. He shook my hand with both of his hands and hugged me like a child as I continued to stare at his hair. I called Dr. Phillips to give him the good news. Then we had Stephen give blood samples to see if there were any traces of heavy metals toxicity in his system. The result? There was no trace of thallium or other heavy metal toxins in his body, so absolutely zero worries that this terrible condition might return. Stephen had broken free from the hair loss life sentence. His stress and anxiety were gone, his zest for life was finally back, and he never had to worry again about anything like this frustrating condition ruining every aspect of his life. Even now, he still calls me every couple of months to thank me and Dr. Phillips for what this formula has done to him. We thank you, Stephen, for giving this formula a try and being the pioneer of what's now the biggest medical breakthrough in the hair loss industry. As I was on the phone with Dr. Phillips telling him how happy I was that our research had finally paid off, he warned me. The formula worked on Stephen and on himself, but would it work on everyone? We needed more people to test this on before we could validate its success. So that night, we went online and posted an ad stating that we were looking for volunteers. From people who simply felt their hair lost its vitality to people who were plagued by advanced balding. But we were really looking for one common denominator. Hair loss affected nearly all aspects of their lives, ripping off their confidence and motivation. In a week, we had more than 70 volunteers ready to confirm our theory. Now, to be honest with you, I expected this formula to work, but I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. Within just a few short weeks, 98% of the participants reported a major increase in their hair density, showing zero trace of heavy metal toxicity in their system. And that's even in the people who had been told by doctors that there is no chance of ever restoring their hair. They also reported a significant increase in their energy levels. Their overall mood lifted. They were now stress and anxiety free. And as an unexpected side benefit, they all saw a boost in memory and focus. Within 3 months, 100% of all participants stopped their hair loss. The women were absolutely glowing, radiant, and I just couldn't help to notice the big smile on everyone's faces. The men were more confident than ever, knowing they could finally go out and get the sexy girl of their dreams without worrying their toupee would just fall off during their first night together. In just a few weeks, even the most skeptical ones, to their utter shock, started to see zero trace of hairs in the bathroom sink. It was as clear as daylight that this formula was working. Dr. Phillips and I were witnessing the most revolutionary breakthrough of modern times. So we managed to pull some strings, and we found a small, independent natural pharmaceutical company in Colorado. We also had to start looking for suppliers which only offered the purest ingredients for our formula. I'll tell you, it wasn't easy. It took us weeks until we found those reliable sources. You would be shocked if you'd know how ignorant most of these people are when it comes to the quality and purity of the raw materials they produce. We looked for ingredients on 3 continents. Dr. Phillips used all his connections to make sure we only got top-quality ingredients from certified FDA-approved suppliers. The job was excruciating. We worked day and night to make sure that each ingredient would be right and that the overall mixture would have the right quantities of each. But after over a month of hard work, we finally did it. We created a clinically proven natural formula that targets the root cause of hair loss and allows your hair follicle to generate new hair and keep it there for years to come. We called it Folital, the only 100% natural blend that targets the real cause of your hair loss and forces your follicles to produce more healthy hairs. We only sourced the purest, highest quality ingredients, the perfect combination of 29 carefully mixed plant extracts and vitamins into an easy-to-swallow capsule you only have to take once a day. Now, you should know that we only produce Folital in our FDA-approved facility using the latest technology and equipment. Every capsule of Folital is non-GMO and safe, and this protocol is very easy to follow and is also diabetic-friendly. It does not require any restrictive diets or wounding your scalp. In fact, it's 100% non-invasive. All you have to do is relax and enjoy the amazing benefits of this formula. Over a dozen independent labs across 2 continents have tested this program on 3,200 people, women and men from 6 countries, just to make sure it works. Lab tests have shown us that in order for this program to be efficient, all the ingredients have to be of the highest quality and mixed only in these exact quantities and in this exact formula. And what we achieved is what most experts call a quantum leap in combating hair loss. Here's a short explanation on how these ingredients work and why they are so powerful. Step 1. The powerful nutrients blend is absorbed by your body. As soon as you've taken the first capsule of Folital, the nutrient absorption process begins. We combined 29 powerful ingredients chosen from selected locations such as Africa, Asia, Northern Europe, and even the Brazilian Amazon. All these amazing nutrients are essential for doing two things: flush out thallium particles and other heavy metal toxins from your bloodstream, and strengthen your immune system so that your hair can fully regrow. And second, to nourish your body with enough essential vitamins and minerals to strengthen every hair follicle you have. Since the ingredients are 100% natural and have been selected due to their purity, your body will immediately start absorbing them, and the hair regrowth and rejuvenation process will begin. Step 2. Your blood is purified and starts nourishing the follicles. Once your body has absorbed all these powerful nutrients, the healing process of your hair follicles begins. This is extremely important. In order for your body to have the power to regrow your full hair, you need to destroy any trace of thallium and heavy metal poisons out of your body and keep your immune system strong to avoid future infestation. A buried 2014 study published in the National Library of Medicine shows that poor tolerance of heavy metals and high toxicity risk are associated with vitamin B deficiency. So in order to create an immune shield for your body, we selected a very precise combination of vitamin B1, B2, and B6, together with biotin, which is often called the hair steroid. This powerful formula cleans your bloodstream out of heavy metals and strengthens your white cells so that your body can start sending more blood to your hair follicles. At the end of this step, heavy metals are completely vanished out of your body. Step 3. Your follicles start producing new, stronger hair. Now pay attention, because from this point on, incredible things start to happen. First, to help you completely nourish your scalp and ultra boost your hair growth, we had to carefully select a proprietary blend of 10 super ingredients, including psyllium husk, also known as wonder herb, was also used for centuries in Ayurvedic medicine. The powerful adaptogen helps your hair and scalp to adapt to stressors like everyday pollution and enhance hair growth by nourishing the root of the hair follicle. Moreover, psyllium husk will help your body redirect all the powerful vitamins and minerals mentioned before straight to your follicles, so that your body will focus mainly on your hair growth function. So it not only acts like a shield against pollution and stressors, but also redirects essential nutrients to the tiny vessels that feed your hair bulb, which turbo boosts the growing phase. Step 4. You completely eliminate hair loss and shield yourself against all scalp conditions. The next key star ingredient is bentonite clay. Bentonite clay has a rich history of being a treatment for various hair conditions back to the early days of the Egyptian and Greek civilization. A recent study shows that scalp care is essential because it determines the health of the hair and prevents the diseases of both scalp and hair. In other words, a healthy scalp is vital for maintaining your sustainable hair growth. Bentonite clay conditions the scalp as well as nourishes and strengthens the hair follicles, stimulating the growth of fuller, thicker, and healthier hair strands. Step 5. Your entire health and well-being start to improve. The next ingredient on the list is flaxseed, which is well known for its mood-boosting properties and also minimizing hair loss by keeping anxiety and stress at bay. So no matter if you eat stress for breakfast or only worry a few times per year, there is a small percent of shedding that happens due to stress-related factors. And that's exactly why we added flaxseed, because we want stress-related hair loss completely out of the equation. Every morning you'll wake up stunned by the growth you're seeing, and the confidence this gives you and the powerful feeling of greatness you project will make you absolutely shine among men and women. Now, you may have two questions at this point. How do I get my hands on Folital, and in what quantity should I take this supplement? You see, it's difficult for me to answer the first question. That's because most of the ingredients used to make Folital are extremely difficult to source, which makes our ability to keep high stocks on hand almost impossible. Every man and woman that has tested Folital and regrew all their lost hair are asking us for more, for themselves and for their families and friends. This makes our stock run out in days every time we get a new shipment. And you should know that we produce Folital in small batches only, which can take up to 3 months to deliver. Which means that once we run out of stock, you'll have to wait another 3 months until this formula will be again available for purchase. We have to do it that way because it's the only way we can keep high quality and purity in our ingredients. Then there's all the big pharma lawyers who angrily threaten they'll shut us down if we don't take this formula down immediately. But since you've already watched this video, right now we can promise your access to up to 6 bottles of Folital. However, if you leave this page, there's just no way we can guarantee we'll still have a supply when you come back. Now, before I tell you in what quantities you should take this supplement, here's something very important you should know. In order to make this formula work for you, you have to take into consideration the severity of heavy metal toxicity levels in your area. Then there's the severity of your hair loss for the past 2 years. Now, I'll be honest. Based on a test we made with our partnering labs on over 8,700 women and men from 17 different countries, looking at their blood tests that assess the presence of heavy metal toxicity in their system, I must confess, the results were shockingly bad. Just take a look at this graph of the most polluted areas of the U.S. So when it comes to how much of Folital you should take, our safe response is, don't risk it, because even if you live in a milder affected area, heavy metal poisoning can happen even within a few hours while you are visiting your relatives from another state. So after seeing the results of over 97,000 women and men from all over the world, we recommend taking at least 3 bottles of Folital over a period of 90 days. And if you want to be completely safe, then we recommend taking at least 6 bottles or more. This is guaranteed to naturally reduce the amount of daily lost hair and also supply your hair follicles with nutrient-rich blood so they can start producing new hair. Tens of thousands of men and women have used Folital with mind-blowing results. They now enjoy the new life that has been given to them. They live a happy, full life where they don't have to constantly worry about being their true selves with the people they love. They are stress-free and anxiety-free, and their confidence levels are holding high and strong since hair loss complications have finally completely vanished from their life. People like Richard Allen, a 38-year-old who says, "This is a lifesaver, literally. I thought my life was over when I started noticing 2 big patches of baldness on my hairline. I was recently divorced and I was losing hope I'll ever find someone again. I used to spend a lot of time alone at home, obsessively studying my bald spots in the mirror and counting the hairs on the pillow, until my uncle recommended Folital to me. I was skeptical at first, but shortly after I started using it, I noticed new hairs sprouting up all over my scalp. My hairline got darker, bald spots started to fill in, and now I have much more hair on my head than ever before. I feel blessed that I got to try this solution. It's indeed the only one that gave me the results I wanted, even faster than I ever dreamed of." Lucy Pittman, a 45-year-old, also sent me this message, saying, "My hair has been gradually thinning over the last 15 years. I have tried many things to help, but nothing really seemed to make a difference. Just 10 months ago, I was at the point where I didn't want to leave the house because my hair was looking so bad. I was so frustrated and disappointed with all the products on the market, which promised me results and only gave me a thinner wallet. All I can say now is that I am incredibly happy with the results. I don't have to carefully try to arrange it on top and in the back to cover extra thin spots. They are all gone. My hair grew back, all of it. Can you imagine that? It's incredible. Thank you so much." And these are just a few of the tens of thousands of people who experienced the same incredible results ever since we made this formula public. Seeing all this, you understand why I initially wanted to sell this program for $297. But while I could have easily done that, and it would still be a total steal, the truth is, I'm not here to make myself money. I've made myself a good amount of money during my 20 years of medical practice. I'm actually close to retiring. But there is just one last thing I want to do before that. I want to help you and millions of other men and women out there to regain their identity and confidence that comes with a gorgeous, thick crown on their head. That's why I'm not going to ask you for $297.
or even $97. In fact, today, while this website is still up, you have a one-time chance to get the proven formula that regrows your thick, wild hair and stops hair loss once and for all in a matter of weeks for only $69 a bottle. Now, because I know how important it is to stop your hair from shedding as soon as possible, I've asked our manufacturing partner to give us permission to offer a discount on the 6-bottle package of Folital. This means that you can get it for only $49 per bottle and also get free shipping from us for as long as the supply lasts. Once we run out of stock, this discount will be gone forever. So select on the 6-bottle package or any other package you want, and join the 97,000 happy women and men who now enjoy the incredible benefits of having a head full of hair for the first time in their adult lives. Tens of thousands of men and women are already living proof that Folital will help you fix balding and grow new hairs across your hairline. 3 bottles of Folital will stop your massive hair fall, boost your energy levels, nourish your skin, strengthen your immune system, and significantly improve your scalp's overall health. But there is a reason why 98% of our users choose the 6 bottles package. Once you go with the 6 bottles package, in just 6 months from now, you'll be able to completely shield your follicles against aging or other degenerative processes and remove any trace of toxic heavy metals from your system, which means that Folital will act like a natural defense system against metal intoxication, even if you are exposed to it daily and continuously. This will strengthen the connection between your hair bulb and the blood vessels that feed it with nutrients. Securing your hair stays right on your head where it belongs. Does this sound good to you? Choose the 3-bottle package or any other package you want, hit the button below, and fill your information in on the other page. In just a few days, you'll get Folital right at your doorstep and be able to start your journey of regrowing your hair right away. Now, this program is practically guaranteed to get you back all the hair you've lost in the last 10, 15, and even 20 years, and keep it like this until your late 90s. And I know this may seem a little shocking to you. After all, the big pharma giants have been sucking cash out of your pockets from the moment you first noticed a small crack in your hairline. So let me change that now. We stand behind the power of this program. That's why when you select your package today, you're fully covered by our 60-day, no-questions-asked money-back guarantee. All you have to do is give Folital a try and escape the life sentence hair loss has put you on. See how incredible it feels to not have to worry about another severe shedding episode all of a sudden, and feel the joy of not having to isolate yourself from the ones you love. Experience all this, and in 60 days, if you're not satisfied with all the new hair strains Folital brings to your life, just send me or Dr. Phillips an email, and we'll refund your entire investment right away. No questions asked, no hassle, no red tape. You have 2 full months to decide if Folital is the right thing for you, but you need to hurry. Dr. Phillips and I have made a lot of enemies by posting this program online. Vicious hair loss industry giants who woke up this morning and noticed their bank account balance got slimmer than yesterday. Snake oil drug manufacturers who don't know what to do with their remaining inventory of cheap knockoff products. Each one of them wants this site off the internet. So the next time my phone rings and some lawyer is there forcing me to take this program down or face an expensive lawsuit, you'll be on your own. But why waste your one real chance to restore your sexy, healthy mane and get your identity back, when you could join over 97,000 women and men in just a few weeks from now, when you have so little time to spend and so much to gain? Just imagine, no more little hairs all over the bathroom, no more embarrassing looks, no more feeling bare and vulnerable, and no more masking a problem that doesn't exist for you anymore. Imagine not having to struggle with a complicated comb-over every time you leave the house. That's just too embarrassing, let's face it. Or having to deal with the constant judgment of those who look at you like you're some sort of damaged goods. Instead, imagine the freedom of waking up in the morning, taking a quick shower, and leave the house fresh and confident in your good looks, excited to meet other people. And it all starts when you select your package below. Your life is your masterpiece. And when writing the story of your life, you shouldn't let anyone else hold the pen. Now, this decision could change the entire lineup of your story. You have the power to regrow your hair starting right now, at this very moment. Would you use it wisely? Of course, no one else in the world can make this choice for you. You can just sit there and wait for a miracle to happen, or use the same old methods you've already tried and failed you so many times. When you already know that even though they promised you the moon with their made-up drugs, they do not even intend to treat the real cause nor reach for long-term effects. Or you can take this small step now. Select your package, hit the button below, and get control over your life again. No more strange hair combs, no more ugly hats, no more constantly feeling self-conscious every time things get interesting in your personal life. You have the power to get your happiness back, and it costs close to nothing. Even compared to the price you already paid for those visits to your dermatologist who gives you nothing but a prescription to more expensive drugs, this formula works for all types of hair loss, no matter if it's male pattern hair loss, diffuse thinning, alopecia areata, or other conditions for both men and women. Also remember that you're protected by our 60-day no questions asked money-back guarantee. So go ahead and select your package now, and you can start being the hottest person in the room as you were always meant to be. It all starts now with a single click, and it takes less than a minute. Do it now and give Folital a test try. FAQs. Still here? No worries. I understand, especially given the amazing secrets that I've revealed in this presentation. Let me answer some of the most important questions we receive about Folital, so you can go ahead and hit the buy button below with full confidence. Will Folital work for me? The short answer is yes. You see, the reason why Folital is so effective is because of the way it works. Drugs like minoxidil allow more blood to reach your head follicles, but that's actually damaging if your bloodstream is loaded with heavy metals. Folital, on the other hand, goes directly to the root cause of your problem in a unique and proprietary way. According to the work Dr. Phillips and I did, the reason why hair loss occurs is because when the body is poisoned with heavy metals, the first part of your body that's being deprived of essential nutrients is your hair and nails. Thallium poisoning is dangerous for your body and has been shown to be one of the leading causes of hair loss. Dr. Peterson and I have identified 26 powerful natural ingredients that together flush out the heavy metals from your bloodstream and allow your body to completely recover your organs, including your hair. Which means that if you suffer from thinning or receding hair, it is now 100% possible to grow back all the hair you've lost. Can I take Folital if I have allergies or I'm currently taking other supplements? We created Folital for all ages and medical conditions. The only side effect you'll see while using it will be the glow on your face when you look in the mirror every morning for the rest of your life. And know that you will finally replace that sinking feeling in your stomach when you see more hair clogging the drain, with the excitement and joy of noticing that you're seeing less and less of your bare scalp each day. Folital does not require any restrictive diets or weird exercises, does not interfere with other supplements you may take, and it addresses the real reason why your hair follicles stop the hair cell's growth in the first place. It does this in a gentle and natural way. You won't feel the tiniest discomfort while helping your body become stronger, younger, and more nourished by removing the heavy metals from all your structures. You should also know that Folital is produced using high-quality ingredients in an FDA-approved facility using the latest technology and equipment. This is why we can confidently say that Folital is safe to use. Now, as always, if you suffer from allergies or other certain medical conditions at this very moment, we strongly advise that you consult with your doctor first. Who is this program for? Folital was designed to work for both men and women who want to rescue their damaged follicles while promoting thicker, fuller-looking hair and have been dealing with both early or severe stages of hair loss. And for people who just want the glow on their face and kick-ass personality back. It has zero side effects and it doesn't interfere with any medication or diet. How long does it take to see the results? The moment you begin taking Folital is when the fight against hair loss begins. And once your body assimilates all the nutrients it needs, you'll start seeing results in no time. Also, we always recommend that you maintain a healthy lifestyle while taking Folital to enjoy its long-term benefits. How long will Folital be available for? I'm really not sure. History has shown us that Big Pharma is not going to sit aside and watch as their margins turn to dust. They'll spend as much money as they need in legal fees to shut us down and shut down this site. This may be your last chance to get Folital. The choice is up to you, of course, but I wouldn't wait until it's too late and this website is removed from the internet. Also, you should know that the only place you can get Folital is right here on this page. Why do you say this is a risk-free program again? We are confident this formula will help you regrow your hair in no time. That's why every bottle of Folital comes with a risk-free, no questions asked 60-day money-back guarantee. Even if you're only 99% satisfied and you don't want Folital anymore, send us an email and we'll refund every penny you invested. No questions asked, no hassle, no red tape. What happens when I select one of the packages below? Once you've selected one of the packages below and clicked the Buy button, you'll be taken to our secure checkout page. There you'll fill out the form to place your order. We then start preparing your package and ship it to your door in a safe and discreet manner. The entire process is very simple and takes less than a minute.
Cool, right? Click the link in the description for my price discounted special.